Alrighty, here we go. My name is Travis Neville. This is the Travis Neville Podcast. I got a new camera going. It's 4K, pretty exciting. But the mic setup is not top notch yet. I got this little thing taped to my desk. I'm missing a part to bring the old big boy back in, which I will do for the next recording. Hopefully for now this will suffice. I apologize if the quality isn't what it normally is. It is Thursday, August 29th, 2024, and I'm excited to be broadcasting again. I had a big day yesterday. I'm not sure what it was, but I had more downloads of my podcast yesterday in one day than I've ever had in one day since I started this 4 years ago. So I'm not sure what happened there. I always like to imagine that it's somebody real famous downloading all my shit and finding out how great this content is, but it is a giant sea of people doing similar things to what I'm doing, so that's unlikely, but fun to imagine. I'm reading this book called Mastery by a guy named, I think it's Robert Greene, with an E on the end, and he's specifically talking about how important it is to have a very specific, very tiny niche that you work in if you really want to experience success in your life. The bigger things are easier, but way less likely to. So lower risk, lower reward, and it's just so common with everything in life, right? Um, for me, the lowest risk route was to become a high school teacher. So that's what I did. I did that for 11 years, but there never was really going to be like huge reward there. I wasn't going to make life-changing money. I wasn't going to live a life-changing lifestyle. Nothing really was going to go over the top amazing in that career. I enjoyed it, had a great time, but he talks specifically about how you find that niche through time, and at some point it all kind of comes together. Interesting book. I recommend it. I was recommended his work by, I can't remember whom, but somebody in this pursuit, somebody that is in this space, recommended his work to me, and so I jumped right on it. Anyway, my thought with that, again, looking at the big downloads yesterday, for me, that niche is going to be this. It's going to be going to schools and teaching specifically female teachers and or male teachers who've just been liberalized like crazy through our public education system, how to better engage with and set up their classrooms to help boys. 78% or more of our discipline problems nationwide are boys, discipline referrals, I should say. And the knee-jerk reaction there is, well, boys just dick off a lot, or boys are rambunctious. So, yes, they are. So what are you going to do about that? They're 50% of the population. They're 50% of the population of your school. They're being underserved. So, and there are some ways that you can make school a lot easier for them. And it isn't complex. It's things that I write about. It's in reintroducing competition. It's the fact that dodgeball's been taken out of schools. That's competitive. That's boys. It's being like the fact that I can remember when I was a teacher, I couldn't post grades of kids, which I always like to do at least once a week. And I like to put their names on there. That's accountability, which is huge on also a big part of my book. Um, you can't do that anymore, but that accountability leads to competition. If you can see what your buddy's got as a grade in your class, well, then you can compete with them. And all of that shit's been deleted in the pursuit of self-esteem, which it's called self-esteem because nobody else can give it to you. So why schools have gone on this trend, I mean, it's been since the 70s from what research says, of we can't ever hurt anybody's feelings, which is just absolute horseshit. What do you think the world's going to do? The world's going to hurt your feelings all the time. You're going to fail all the time. I would rather have those things happen when they're in school and they're kids and they're malleable and they're surrounded by adults who want to help them. That's always been my philosophy on that, and that's very definitely why I really never got along too well with most of my colleagues, specifically in English departments, who are all female, and it's just a different mindset. Moms think different than dads do. Male teachers think different than female teachers do. And you've got to know that you can connect with kids based on that. Everybody's got a different style of learning. I remember hearing that all the time. Oh, different learning styles. Well, shit, man. Some kids are going to learn well from the football coach guy, kind of dad character. And that's who I always was. And, I'm back to coaching football now, and that's what I'm bringing there. I'm bringing that accountability, obviously the competition, um, risk taking. I think is a big piece of boys how they think, and there's easy practical application for that, and that is let them wager, and let them be bold. So that's the chapter on boldness in reviving masculinity. Give them opportunities. I used to tell kids, "Hey, I'm going to set the over under on this quiz at 82%. And here's what we're going to do. You can wager up to 10% on that. So let's do it like this. All right, you are going to bet before you take the test, the quiz, that you will be above the mean. You will be above 82%. And I set that number. And if you are above the 82%, maybe you bet 10%. So you bet 10% that you'll be over the 82%. So maybe you just get 82. I'll spot you the other 10. So now you got 92 just because you got the 82. But sharp stick. Uh, if you score an 80, well, I'm going to take away 10%, and then you only got 70. Is it worth the risk? But boys love that. They love that type of thinking. They love, yeah, I can do that. Hell yeah, I can do it. It's competitive. It's risk taking. It's gambling, but they're betting on themselves, which is what a great skill to teach kids. Anyway, these are the things that will be in the fourth book. It'll be specifically about that. Here are the ways that you can make your classroom, or hey, single mom, I know you have no idea how to turn a boy into a man. Well, I'm going to help you make that easier for you. I'm going to give you a bunch of tricks and tips that are going to make your house better, make your day easier because things are going to go better. That kid's going to be interested, involved, and productive and moving forward and not bored to death and on a video game and constantly pissed off. And um, shit works. I mean, research is there. The anecdotal evidence is there. Anyway, the niche thing. Yeah, I think that's what it's going to be for me. I think that's where we're going to go with this moving forward. So expect me to talk about guests, start having guests on that can lead me in that direction. Because that's how, if you guys notice, that's how this journey has gone for me. I wrote the first book after doing a ton of research myself about trying to become the best man I could be. And the Jossman method is a set of standards. It's a style of living. It's a way to score yourself at the end of every day so that you can quantify, are you moving forward as a man? Are you becoming a better man? And then after that book, I started the podcast, and that became its own, and this became its own animal. And after 2 years of that, I had researched enough and talked to enough people and read enough books just to prepare for the podcast that I had enough to write Reviving Masculinity. And then 2 years after that, a bunch more research that I'm publishing here essentially came, you know, I got that shit done, and then I was able to write Mastering Masculinity. So that's how this has gone. I'm sure you guys can pick that up. So over the next couple of years will be me preparing for what I will write in the winter of be 25, 26, 2025, and 2026. I'll be writing that fourth book. I try to pop one out every 2 years. Anyway, that's the plan. I want to share this story with you, kind of transitioning here again and again. I'm really hoping that the audio is good enough here. It sounded pretty good on my headphones, but um, yeah, I'm not wearing my headphones either. Uh, so I'm hoping it's coming through on the production. But the 4K camera, I think, was a good move. Like, yeah, I can really see myself a lot better, and my posts look better, and everything. It turned out better. But anyway, I'm on a run today, this morning, and I'm running down. I'm cutting through this neighborhood, and I end up on the sidewalk, and I see this guy coming towards me. And I see his eyes come up, and we kind of see each other. So I adjust myself on the sidewalk, and he adjusts himself. And before I get there, he stops, and he's staring right at me. like staring me right in the eye. And as I get closer, he sticks his hand down like for high five or a low five, and he very seriously looked me right in the eye and said in very bold tones, "Don't fuck around." And I loved it. I loved it. I just got done running. Um, Saturday, I ran a 10-mile race in Flint called the Crim. Yeah, Flint, Michigan. They try to find 10 miles of things that you can look at that aren't shitty and run down, but good luck, like half of it's shit because it's Flint. So it's a good race, so it's like my seventh time doing it, I think. And you have people cheering you on and stuff like that, but for whatever reason, none of it hit me like this one dude today on the sidewalk. Don't fuck around, he said. And I took that as an inspiration. There's got to be sort of an alignment of inputs and what you're ready for before you can really get to the place that you want to be. And I don't want to get gigantic and obscure here, but I just started 3 days ago. I got on this First Form app, which you're welcome to check out. It's like $12 a month or something. I know it's just a money grab, but it's got some buddies. Actually, Eric and Chris, the guys from According to Men, they are on there and they recommended it. So um, I jumped on there, and it's just a great way for me to really be honest about my results. Anyway, as I started, bringing myself into that space of, all right, I want to really, let's bring it up a notch, Travis. Let's get to be awesome in these areas that you're kind of pretty good at. Let's really see if we can, how good we can be. Because I'm in that mindset, this dude saying "don't fuck around" for me was like an enigma. It was like, no, not an enigma. It was like an epiphany. It was like just another sign that I'm moving in the right direction. I'm doing the right shit. And fucking loved it, man. This guy out of nowhere, don't fuck. And he was so serious about it, man. He was so super serious. So then I leave there, and I finish my workout, go back to the gym, get some stretching, and I pass this dude in front of the grocery store who's always there with a sign saying, "Hey, my daughter needs a surgery. Please give me money." He's got a piece of cardboard, rough looking guy. And I've never really given him a second thought, but I turned around and came back, went back through it, went back around again, gave him a copy of my book. And that might be like the most dick stroking, self-aggrandizing shit ever. But I really believe that the work in there is very good. And maybe there are some things that for him can inspire him in the way that "don't fuck around" guy inspired me today. So I hopefully that will be a good thing. Anyway, all of these things, right? You guys know I documented pretty well the loss of my cat, Hank. Still miss him. And I felt myself go through quite a depression there. And you kind of go through waves in grief, but I'm feeling good again now. And again, I've got myself focused on some other goals. I'm coaching football. I got this weight loss thing I'm trying to do, lean out a little bit. I got a lot of work to do as far as my construction work before the end of the year, before the snow falls, I should say. And so I got a lot going on, and that's all good. I can't remember exactly where I was going with that, but let me bring it back to this. I wanted the show to be about this concept of your discipline is your self-respect. And I got to give props to Adam Allred. If you are not following Adam Allred on Allred on Instagram, you should be. He puts out great, solid content, um, very similar to what I do. We align in a lot of ways. I've had a couple of chats with him. Sharp guy. He's very busy and very growing. He's super popular, so I'm probably not going to be able to get him on here, but it'd be cool if I could. Anyway, he said that your discipline is your self-respect. Your discipline is your self-respect. And that's been rattling around in my head for the last week since I saw him post that. And this is what it means. Uh, I think it's really tied to the chapter in Synergy and in Mastering Masculinity. I talk about this concept all over the place, but the idea that your heart and your mind, they need to have a good relationship with each other. That essentially your emotions and your cognitive thinking thoughts about those emotions, they've got to kind of jive. You can't have your mind beating the shit out of your emotions all the time, and you certainly can't have your emotions running the show, or you're going to be like a poorly functioning woman. Like you won't be able to make any long-term decisions that are worth a shit. Um, but I think it's similar to that. Um, if you don't have that good relationship you're going to fail. And here's the other piece of it. Your discipline is your self-respect. You know all of your failures, okay? You know every one of them because you were front row when you did them, all right? You know that. I've got things in my life that I know I've fucked up. I had a rough interaction with a dude on the road, like a crossing guard type guy. I'm not going to go through the whole story, but I lit him up verbally and I didn't feel great about it. I really don't like conflict. I'm very good at conflict. I know how to deal with it very well, but I never feel good about it. That tension to me causes anxiety, and anxiety for me is the worst feeling in the world. So I set up my whole world to get rid of it. Like everything I can do to get rid of stress, I'm going to do it because anxiety and stress, they're uncomfortable. And that's why I work out a lot. Shit. You know, back to the fitness thing. I would tell you 20% of what you look like is what you eat at my age. 80 or 20% of what you look like, sorry, is your workouts. 80% of it's what you eat. So I'm changing how I eat. Because I work out all the time. I fucking nonstop working out. Like I run these races and I lift all the time and I do CrossFit workouts and I do spin classes and rowing and I work physically all day. I should look way better than I do. And I don't because I have not been self-disciplined about my eating and drinking beer and all that shit. And it's been a great summer. My friends have been up all the time. We drank a ton of beer and had a great time. Ate all kinds of shit and I wouldn't trade it. But if I don't kind of catch this in the next couple of months before fall comes, and I'm not working as much and I'm not coaching anymore, and I'm left to my own devices, I'm going to get enormous. So I got to kind of get that covered. Anyway, you know all your failures. You're aware of that. And you have the choice of like beating yourself up about it or going, all right, we failed there. So let's use that to make sure we don't fail again. Let's use that to move forward. Let's use that to get better, right? Like I could tell you all the things that I fucked up that nobody else knows. We've talked about that before, that's, I think, the root for a lot of people's lack of self-esteem. Um, and I'm going to tie self-esteem and self-respect at the same time because in order for me to have any kind of esteem, I got to respect myself. Okay. Um, but my self-discipline is what will get me there. Um, yeah. So I've chosen, you know, all your failures, and I'm aware of mine. And I've always said, well, I work so hard and I do all this so I can eat whatever I want to. Well, you are the result of your decisions, and I am the result of my decisions. I get on that first format, the first thing they want you to do is take some progress pictures. So I take my shirt and pants off and I just got my underwear on. I take a front, back, and side picture, and I look at these fucking pictures and I'm like, the camera don't lie. I don't look like a guy who works out as much as I do. I don't. Um, about 220, between 6 feet and 6'1", and man, I can perform, but I don't look like. I don't want to be some chiseled fucking Instagram model who only lives on a diet of like salads and tears. I don't want that, but I should look better, and my clothes should fit better. I can measure my waist size, 40 inches. I have a 40-inch waist. I just ran a 10-mile run. How those things exist in the same place? I don't get. So it's all down to the food, man. So I got to do that, right? So I'm choosing to tune that up in my life. I'm going to tune up my diet and face some hard facts and uncomfortable facts. Um, I'm also tuning up my daily structure. The days that I'm not, well, all days, I need to get up earlier. Okay, I've been giving myself this rationalization that I got up at 4:45 for over a decade when I was a teacher, and that's enough of that shit. Well, I got to go to practice at 3 o'clock, and so I only have from the time I get up until 3 to basically do everything else, including work. I can't just go to work for 3 or 4 hours. That's not enough. It needs to be 5 or 6 at least, or it's not worth the drive. So in order for that to happen, I got to get up earlier. And for me, what that comes to is going to bed earlier. So I started going to bed at like 10 instead of midnight. And now I'm getting up at 6 instead of 8. And I'm still getting a full night's sleep. I still feel great. There's still no alarm clock, which is the important part. But I'm shifting my schedule around and it feels like discipline to me, which I can respect. And it gives me self-esteem. It does. So that's working. And in this sort of this vein of how are you going to change your life? Well, I don't sleep till 8 or 9 anymore. And that was something I was very proud of and I've really liked about my life. Well, maybe this is just a short season, a football season, literally. Um, Maybe it's just for the fall. So when you make some changes, they don't have to be forever, and they don't have to. Um, it's okay, I guess, to weaken in some areas so that you can get stronger in other areas. Is it worth it to get up earlier to make all the money I need to make so that I can take the entire winter and get great at social media and push this brand and make it so that more and more people have access to what I'm teaching? Yeah, it's fucking worth it. Was it worth it to change my lifting schedule to run way more miles and be able to run that 10-mile run, run that 10K trail run, which was way harder, 10K, even though it was only 6 point something miles. That was way harder than the 10-mile road run. Was it worth it for those things to have those accomplishments to be looking at like right here in my office? I got my medals hanging and my numbered bibs hanging. Yeah, it's worth it. Now I can spend the winter lifting big weights like I like to, and it's worth it to change for a minute to get that accomplishment to move forward. So that's how you rationalize it. You're not going to lose it. I got a little bit weaker strength-wise, and I really haven't been doing any leg lifts during the summer because it makes it very hard to work. It makes it very hard to run. It wasn't going to fit what I was trying to do. But will I bring that back in the winter time? Hell yeah, I will. I'll be back to dead. I'll probably deadlift 500 pounds this winter, trap bar. Like, 'cause I can trap bar lift 430 right now, no problem. Usually get 2 reps. I should be able to get to 500 because last winter was my first time. Anyway, is it worth the trade-off? For me, absolutely it is. And it is for you too. If you want to, hey, I'd like to accomplish this goal. Is it okay to set some things aside? Hell yeah, because you're not setting them aside forever. You're setting them aside till you get to that goal, and then you go back to it. You know, I went to this this lady at this last gym I was at. She was like a dietary, she's a dietitian or something. She was talking about changes in diet. She said, don't ever make any changes in your diet that you can't maintain for 99 years. I'm like, that's a good idea because a lot of people go on these stupid fad diets that they never stick to. They'll lose a bunch of weight real fast and they gain it all back. And that's not good for you. You're better off staying where you were. I agree. However, if you are a reasonably disciplined person, which I like to consider myself, um, you can make some changes. And even if they're short term. I know for me, I'll take this 8 weeks in a couple days that I have left in the football season, and I will change how I eat. And I'll probably learn some things that I'll keep forever. But I will, certainly cut down on calories there. To get to where I want to be, you got to go way down here to lose the weight. But once you get to where you're at, you bring your food up pretty good. Like you can add 500 or 1,000 calories a day, which is a lot, and maintain that weight once you get there. So it's not like in order to diet, you cut all this food out of your, and you got to cut it out forever. Because no, you'd keep losing weight. You'd keep dropping it, right? To a certain extent. So you lose it, and then you can kind of get where you want to be, and you can take it easy a little bit, which I'm good with that. I know how to do that. That's no big deal. So yeah, it's okay to weaken in some areas in order to strengthen yourself overall, um, for sure. Uh, and when you look at like for me, the whole idea of um, looking at myself and saying, all right, where am I weak? And it isn't the workouts. I mean, those have always been there my whole life. I mean, my whole adult life anyway. I've made that a priority. I mean, I always pay my gym membership a year in advance. I don't ever want anything to come between me and my workouts. It's a borderline sacred religious thing to be in the gym for me. And yeah, I've always had that there, but my food's not been great. I'm pretty good. I eat a lot of meat and a lot of vegetables, but I eat a lot of it. And when my friends are up, I drink beer and we eat pizza and we eat burgers and we go out and I eat too much of it. I do. And is it worth making some tweaks? Yeah, it absolutely is. Um, and it's great news to find out that you have some weak areas. Okay, this whole fucking idea that, again, back to my teaching days, that you're perfect how you are. You don't need to change a thing. Someone will love you just exactly for who you are. Maybe they will love you for who you are. Uh, what is there? Can you be better at that? Fuck yeah, you can. And that's great news. It's a Jordan Peterson concept. Yeah, there's all these ways to improve. You can be fucking even more amazing. You can be great. When you see those holes, you see how good you can be. It's the same concept that I use with the kids that I coach in football. We look at film of the games that we played and we figure out where we went wrong so that we can not do it wrong the next time. How awesome is that? That you have an opportunity, somebody can show you, look, here's where you can be. You can be even better. That doesn't mean all of you sucks. It means this one little area that you're only here, you can be here. You can really improve. Uh, and that's great news. And that doesn't hurt anybody's fucking self-esteem. If you haven't learned how to take criticism, if you haven't learned how to improve your life based on your failures, you're going to be a shitty adult and you'll at least be unhappy. And that whole concept that public schools have where we can't hurt anybody's feelings, we can't give anybody any criticism, well, that's a problem because it's going to make them shitty adults. You know what I mean? You can't do that. Um, anyway, yeah. So I recommend the app, the First Form app. Like I said, it's like 13 bucks, 12.99 a month or something. I just went ahead and bought a year. It's pretty neat. It's got some good functionality. I'm sure there's a ton of apps that do the same thing. You just track all your calories in there. You can just type in a food. It'll tell you how many calories in certain quantities of it. The one thing I can't figure out is it doesn't have like a way to track how many calories you burned for your workout. So I got to kind of I already know those numbers, so I can just kind of keep those in my mind. What I'm doing is it recommends me, to be at, I don't know, 2,600 calories a day or something to get to my goal. So I just stick around there, and then my my workout's just a bonus. So I'll burn anywhere from 600 to 1,100 calories on a workout. You got to go pretty hard to do that. Like that 10-mile run, I probably burnt 17, 1,800. A typical 45-minute workout for me, good strong lifts, 40-second breaks, maybe 2, 3 miles of running. Yeah, that's like 750, 800, something like that, somewhere in there. And I know that. That's calories I burnt, and that's a bonus for me. Um, yeah, anyway, recommend it. Check it out if you can. They're not paying me. I'm paying them. Like I said, my buddies Eric and Chris, they're on there, and it's a good way for them to track me and me to look at what they're doing. And that, again, that's accountability. That's a big deal. That's accountability. That's chapter 4 in Reviving Masculinity is accountable. I've always had great self-accountability. Why not have more? What's wrong with that? Why not have a little bit more? Um, which is cool. I got Eric. He's like a professional advisor on there. He is affiliated with First Form in some way, and he's my advisor. So he's in there kind of telling me, hey, do this, change this, fix that, which I haven't done yet because I haven't figured out how. But um, anyway, your self-discipline is your self-respect. I very much believe that. At least it's certainly true for me. When you can look at things in your life where you said, yeah, I could have done that, and I chose not to. It would have been very easy to do it, and I chose not to do it. And I'm better as a result. That's just a habit, and you can develop that habit. The more you do it, the more of a habit it becomes. I was reading today that it takes 30 days to make a decision into a habit, and 90 days to turn habit into a lifestyle. I can remember telling people when I was young that if you can lift weights for 6 months, then you'll do it for the rest of your life. And I've yet to meet anybody for whom that wasn't true, except for the people who are looking for a way to get out of it. The ones who are like, well, my partner moved or changed jobs and I couldn't work out with them anymore, so it went to shit. Or I got a new job, or I had kids, or that's all just bullshit, man. If you want to do it, you will. I know it's harder, but it just means it takes more self-discipline, which means you get more self-respect out of it, which means in the end, you're a better man. And the better you think about yourself, the better you feel about yourself, the more you're going to treat other people that same way. It is the fucking truth. First, we build our power, and then we give it away. I talk about that all the time. Reviving masculinity was how to build your power. These are the habits you need to put in place to get your power, to get yourself in to be a strong man. And then mastering masculinity, these are the results that you should get from that power. And by get, I mean give. These are the things you should be willing to give away. You should have health, which means that you're able to be protective of other people and you're going to last a long time for your people. You should have accomplishments that other people can be proud of, that you work together with other people to get to. Appreciation, preparedness. Being prepared means you're able to protect people and provide for them. Personal sovereignty, love, all these things. These are ways that you can give that power back. Okay? And that doesn't have to happen until you build yourself. It is not a selfish pursuit to make yourself the best man you can be in any way, whether it's fitness or reading or developing your mind or learning emotional intelligence, any of that shit. It's not selfish. It's truly putting on your own air mask on the airplane before you help anybody else put on theirs. You are a far better leader and far better able to help others when you are in your best. You're your best self that you can be. Okay. So know that moving forward. My name is Travis Neville. This is the Travis Neville Podcast. These are my two most recent books right here. Very proud of both of them. There's a homeless man in Sheboygan, Michigan, who has a copy of one of those, and I autographed it to him. And yeah, they're all over the place. You can go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and they're all over the world. I had a guy from Belgium reach out just a week ago. Said, hey man, what's the easiest way to get it? And I'll help him with that anyway. My name is Travis Neville. This is the Travis Neville Podcast. I hope that in some way today's show about self-discipline, being your self-respect, helps you to get your shit together.